Greetings, friends, and welcome to The Bright Side, your nutritional program dedicated to the understanding of the vast world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. I am your host, Pharmacist Ben, nutritional pharmacist from Boulder, Colorado. I use nutritional supplements where other healthcare practitioners use toxic pharmaceutical drugs and sometimes deadly medical procedures. If you suspect that there are natural nutritional roads to your health and vitality and well-being and to addressing your health challenges, whatever they may be, but you don't know where to begin, you have come to the right place. As you listen to The Bright Side every day, you are more and more in control of your body, you are more and more knowledgeable, and you know you can overcome any health challenge. That is why we are here. Every day on The Bright Side, helping clear up the sometimes confusing world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. Over the last 3 decades plus of practicing pharmacy, I have seen drug-free recoveries from diabetes, hypertension, obesity, skin diseases like psoriasis, eczema, rosacea, acne, digestive ailments, autoimmune issues of all kinds, recoveries that by the standards of modern medicine can only be called a miracle, but what is in the world of the body, what is in the world of biology, standard operating procedure. Because the human biological system is a healing and regenerating system. It's designed divinely to heal and renew itself on a moment-to-moment basis. And while that may seem like a miracle to some folks, this renewing system is really nothing more than just the way the body works. All right, welcome to The Bright Side, friends, on this really very strange kind of morning and very strange kind of time. I am Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. Our phone number, 844-236-6010, 844-236-6010. I definitely want to hear from you today. I want to know what you guys are thinking about this whole coronavirus deal. I have a lot to say about it. And while I haven't really seen any proof of a coronavirus, has anybody out there really seen any proof of a coronavirus except for what they hear in the news? Would you even know there was a coronavirus if it wasn't on the news 24/7? What is real, even though whether or not this coronavirus thing is real, what is real is the mind virus aspect of this, and that to me is the really big issue. We're going to be talking about that today. 844-236-6010. I really want to hear from you if you're dealing with anxiety issues or worry, fear issues. I definitely want to hear what you have to say. 844-236-6010 is our number on The Bright Side. Longevity products, and this is an amazing time. If you're thinking about starting a home business, this is an amazingly important time, not just to start a home-based business just for economic reasons, but also to help people, also to make a difference, to help spread the word about the power of nutrition and the power of a good nutritional supplement program. If you're interested in, if you have been interested, and now this is going to kind of push you over the edge here a little bit, get you to make a decision, or if you're even thinking about it, call 866-735-2470 for more information about how to start a home business, longevity home business. And you can also, of course, sign up to join the Brightside Ben team off our websites, brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com, and then our Truth Skin Health products. This is actually a very good time to practice self-care, and practicing self-care is really important. It's extra important. Practicing self-care physically, using whatever physical means, whatever physical strategies you want. Self-care via nutritional supplementation, via skincare products, via exercise, via meditation. There's all kinds of, this is really a time to be practicing self-care. Truth Treatment products are available at truthtreatments.com, We got a guest coming up at the bottom of the hour. J. Dean Waldman. We've had him on before. Dr. Waldman is a professor emeritus of pediatrics, pathology, and decision science. He's the former director of the Center for Healthcare Policy at the Texas Public Policy Foundation, and he's the author of many books. We had him on a few weeks ago talking about curing the cancer in U.S. healthcare, and we're going to talk coronavirus today at the bottom of the hour with Dr. Waldman, who is a very well-credentialed mainstream model physician from the University of Chicago. He was the former chief of pediatric cardiology at the University of Chicago, and he's been a professor in various universities, and he's mainstream. But he's got some interesting things to say about the coronavirus, bottom of the hour. So my thoughts on this thing are, yeah, I don't know if it's physically real, but it's definitely mentally real. It's a mind virus. And it's been implanted. This is where we're infected. We have been infected by a mind virus, whether or not there is a physical virus, and nobody really knows. I mean, if you want to believe the authorities, then yes. But certainly you don't need to shut down the entire economy. This smells bad. This smells really bad. Nonetheless, we are all responsible for how we respond. We have responsibility. We have the ability to respond. If we respond by hoarding toilet paper and milk and canned soup and all the stuff people are hoarding, well, we get what we deserve. Human beings have to get a grip of themselves. Yes, it's easy. Remember, the brain is hardwired to go into fear. That's what the brain does. That's its job. But we have been blessed with an extra part of our brain that will allow us to override the primitive brain. This is what it's about. This is an opportunity. This craziness, utter craziness that people are falling into is an opportunity for us to be great. It's an opportunity for us to be poised and have grace under fire. It's an opportunity for us to not lose our sense of compassion for each other and kindness and love, rather than falling into the reptilian brain, the fear brain. Falling into the natural tendency of the fear brain. And a lot of this has to do with understanding our bodies, or I should say understanding our minds, also understanding our bodies. We want to understand our immune system, for example. First of all, the coronavirus is not I'm not going to go out on a limb and say that, although my deep hunch is that it's a bunch of baloney. But regardless, the flu is real, and the flu really kills people. Why are we talking about the flu? The flu kills tens of thousands of people every year. The flu kills how many people have died of this of the coronavirus? According to Johns Hopkins in the United States, I don't know, a couple hundred, not even. Really, it doesn't even stand up to scrutiny. One of the things about the power structure that likes to manipulate the environment is they always show you what they're doing. They always have little obvious hints for those who have eyes to see. Just in the numbers, just in the statistics. And by the way, does anybody even ask how do people get diagnosed with the coronavirus? How do people know they have the coronavirus? The test isn't very accurate. Everybody wants a test. Does anybody really know how this test works? They take a little sample, a tiny little piece of your blood, and then they multiply it out. And then if they find a virus in there, they say you're infected. You need to see the virus actively doing something for it to make a difference. Now, have you noticed all the times they're talking about, there's always little clues here, okay? Another clue. One of the clues is there's no real test. Nobody really knows who has the coronavirus. The second clue is they always tell you about infections, but they never tell you about exactly what's happening. They say, oh, Tom Hanks was infected, and Justin Trudeau's wife was infected, and now they're in self-quarantine. Listen to the words they use. Infected, quarantine. What does infected mean? What the heck does that really mean? I mean, you got the virus, okay? If you did, really, we don't know. But let's say that it's true. They got the virus. They are infected. Okay, great. Now what? You get a cold, okay? If you're really sick, and you have to be really sick. Make no mistake about it. With rare exceptions, because I suppose there's always going to be exceptions. But with rare exceptions, you've got to be really sick to become symptomatic in a dramatic fashion from the coronavirus. And that's another clue. And by the way, anybody who understands biochemistry and biology can see this thing, see right through this thing. Unless you completely drank the Kool-Aid, you can see right through this craziness, this absolute nonsense. By the way, I want you to call me at 844-236-6010. I want to hear what you have to say. And I know to a large extent I'm preaching to the choir. Nonetheless, the real point that I want to make here is that we don't understand our brains and how our brains work. We don't understand how the amygdala works and how the limbic system works. We don't understand how our bodies work. We don't understand what white blood cells are, and we don't understand what neutrophils are, and we don't understand what interferon is, and we don't understand any of it. It's a great big mystery to us. Our bodies and our minds are great big mysteries, big black boxes, and we have no idea what goes on inside them, and that's why we fall prey to viruses of the mind as well as viruses of the body. And my job here on this program is to expose how the body and how the mind work so we could become masters of our body and mind. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. We'll take a break on the bright side right after this. Okay, we're back on the bright side. I am Pharmacist Ben. We got Dr. Dean Waldman coming up at the bottom of the hour. Dr. Waldman is a very well-credentialed mainstream medical physician, surgeon actually. He's been or cardiologist. He was the former chief of pediatric cardiology at the University of Chicago. He's been practicing for 37 years, and he got all kinds of credentials. And we're going to talk to him about this whole craziness about the coronavirus. And I haven't talked to him yet, so I don't know what he's going to say. So, but I suspect he's going to at least partially, probably totally agree with everything we've said here. By the way, if you want to purchase longevity products, this is a golden opportunity, but you better get on it pretty quick if you want to get your Beyond Tangy Tangerine. Listen, if we really cared about immune system boosting in this country, every American would get a Beyond Tangy Tangerine once or twice a month on the government. You don't hear anything from that. You hear all these doctors on the television. And keep in mind, if it weren't for all these doctors on the television and weren't all the talking heads on the television, Brian Williams and Sean Hannity and whoever, Rachel Maddow and all these supposedly authoritative spokespeople, you wouldn't even know you had it. How can they even have a straight face when they're on the air talking about this stuff? I don't even understand that. This thing smells so bad. This thing is so not biochemically plausible. That's the thing here, folks. This is not biochemically plausible that you can have this kind of infection that would require these measures. In this particular case, we're talking about infinitesimal percentages of people who are being affected. So if that, we don't know. They say you died of pneumonia. How do you know you didn't die of the drugs they gave you in the hospital? How do we know that? We don't know any of it except what we're told. People are certainly not dropping dead in their homes. So this just smells bad on every level. Nonetheless, what's real is the fact that we got a mind virus. So anyway, before I get into that, I just want to remind everybody, 1-866-735-2470 if you want to order longevity products and get on it and get the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, get the beta-glucan, get the Ultimate Selenium. These are all very powerful immune boosters. Zinc FX, CFX. You're doing longevity products. If you're not doing longevity products, just get, if you can, vitamin C, selenium, zinc. And there's lots of things that you don't want to do. This is not a time to eat sugar. This is not a time, not just because of this to protect the immune system, which sugar destroys the immune system, but to protect your psychology. And that's really what I want to get into. I have always been a student of the mind ever since I was a kid, basically. I read my first psychology book when I was extremely young. I won't say I read it. I kind of got the highlights in 5-year-old sort of logic. But I discovered there was this thing called psychology at a very, very young age, and I've been obsessed with it ever since. And even though most people know about my work as a skincare professional or nutritionist or maybe pharmacist, what I really love the most is the science of the mind. And our lack of understanding about how our minds work, just like our lack of understanding about how our immune system works or how our body works, is really the problem here. Can't really control the environment. You can't control the environment you're in, but you can control how you respond to the environment. This is where we have responsibility. Responsibility is a context. You can't give somebody responsibility. It's how you operate. You operate within a context of responsibility. You either admit it and leverage it or not. Most people don't leverage it, and most people don't. But we have the ability to respond, and that's what this is about. The ability to respond. How are we going to respond? I signed up for Meals for Wheels yesterday. I mean, to deliver Meals for Wheels. That's how we should be responding. We should be responding by helping people who are really going to be affected by this, and that's old people, stuck in their house. Imagine the fear these old people are going through. And I'm an old person, by the way. Almost an old person. In numbers. But over 70s, if they don't understand that they're part of the masses, not people listening to this program. I understand that. I'm preaching to the choir here. I understand that as well. But our lack of understanding about how our minds work and a lack of understanding how our bodies work, that's what's behind this. We trust other people because we don't know. That's why we pay attention when Dr. Anthony Fauci spews out his non-statistical nonsense. Social distancing. Really? Are you kidding me? Listen, people, do you think the virus just stays 6 feet away? It's airborne. I'm telling you, it does not stand up to even a modicum of scrutiny. It's ridiculous. But But what's real is how we're responding. That's what's real. All right, 844-236-6010 is our number. I got Dean Waldman coming up at the bottom of the hour, so I'll get a few phone calls, see who we can talk to. Let's go to Bob in Minnesota. What's up, Bob?
Hey, good morning, Ben.
Good morning. What do you think about this crazy?
Well, I'd like to comment on the coronavirus, and hopefully your listeners can detach emotionally from what I'm about to say and, reason it logically. But, the population at most risk, especially if you look at the data from Italy and that thing, I understand that the majority of the people are...
Hey, Bob, I can't hear you. You're cutting out, and I definitely want to hear you. Why don't you call me back, will you?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
No, it's a terrible connection. So
okay,
I can't do that. So call me back because if you want, and I'll get you. I'll cut you from the line. Okay. Hey, Dorian, what's going on? Dorian in Virginia.
Hi, Ben.
Hey, buddy.
I have a relative that has blockages in the lungs.
Yes.
And he has heart issues. I need some help.
Yes. Oxygen, most important. Most important thing you do for this guy is oxygen. That's really what the problem is. It's an oxygen issue.
Okay.
Okay? I mean, I shouldn't say that. That's one of the main problems is you don't get oxygen to the heart. So you got to improve oxygenation. Get on a rebounder, move the blood. And once you don't get oxygen to the blood, it slows down. It becomes sluggish. And that leads to less oxygen, and the blood becomes more sluggish, and on and on and on. This is where you run into the problem is like a downward spiral. You with me? You can cut it by practicing slow, deep breathing techniques and exercise.
Okay.
Yoga is a great one. Listen, yoga is amazingly important, amazingly helpful for older folks, amazingly helpful for people who have heart and lung disease. Amazingly important because it helps improve respiration and blood flow and relax the body and improve the flexibility of the body. The flexibility. Listen, when the body becomes harder as we get older, it doesn't feed the cells as effectively. The stiffening and the ossifying and the fibrosis that are part and parcel of the aging process, unfortunately, is not just a structural issue. It's a metabolic and a biochemical issue because it changes the chemistry of the body when you're stiff, because the connective tissue feeds the cells. Without the cells getting oxygen, without the cells getting nutrients, they become dysfunctional and they don't produce as much insulin and they produce more stress hormone and they don't make as much melatonin, and on and on and on. So the connective tissue has a chemical and biochemical impact on the body, and that's why yoga is so important. And also the slow, deep breathing. Dorian, I know you got a dog. Who is that in the background there?
That's my nephew that just ran in.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right, does that help you?
Yeah.
What do you think about? I got about 10 seconds here. What do you think about this whole thing?
The corona thing. I think everything you're saying is 100%.
Yeah, no, I wish I was talking to more people, though. I know all the people listening to this program probably agree with me. You're all preaching to the choir. Tell everybody. Spread the word.
Yes, I will.
All right. Thanks, Dorian. Take care. All right. Yeah, I want to talk to everybody on the planet about this craziness. But what's real is the mind virus, the mental aspect, and that's where we can take control. And we're going to be talking a lot about that in the coming days, and we'll talk about the immune system as well. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back after this. Back on The Bright Side. I am Pharmacist Ben. And we are on the air Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 Pacific, and 10 to 11 Central Time, 24/7 on the archive page at brightsideben.com. You can purchase your longevity supplements at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, and criticalhealthnews.com, and also truthnourishment.com. And our Truth Skin Health products are all available at truthtreatments.com, truthtreatments.com. And this is a great time to think about starting a longevity business, by the way. Call 866-735-24/7 if you want more info. All right, so we're talking about this coronavirus, which in my humble opinion may or may not be a thing. I tend to doubt it. It doesn't make biochemical sense. We're talking about, you notice how they're always talking about the infected and not the symptomatic. 6 feet, really? That's like going to make a difference with an airborne virus. The media is the only source. That's the only source of information we have here, folks. It's the media. Nobody's really knows anything but what you hear every day from news anchors and Dr. Anthony Fauci. Do the tests really work? And are the deaths really deaths due to the coronavirus? We don't know anything about anything. But what's real is the economic impact and the mental impact, because those two are related. Anyway, we're going to talk to Dr. Dean Waldman. He is Dr. Waldman is a MD and an MBA. He's been a pediatric cardiologist for 37 years, former chief of pediatric cardiology at the University of Chicago, and he is an author of over 250 articles and 12 books. And we had him on a couple weeks ago talking about curing the cancer in U.S. healthcare. I reached out to Dr. Waldman earlier this week or last week, and I asked him if he would come on because I knew he would have some interesting things to say. So please welcome to the bright side, Dr. Dean Waldman. Hello, Dean.
Happy to be here.
Thank you so much. I know you're going to have some really interesting things to say. Did you hear me talking about how I don't know if this thing's real? It doesn't even make biochemical sense or biological sense, does it?
Well, there's a lot of, shall I say, ginning up of this crisis by the media. I really have to wonder if this is primarily politically motivated as a means to try and get at President Trump. Quite frankly, yes, there is a virus, and yes, it is spreading, but there's a lot of either misinformation or a crisis is a terrible thing to waste. Well, we've got to create one in order to sell more newspapers or sell more ad time. So I have a lot of mixed emotions, and the main thing that I want to say, there are a bunch of lessons that I think we need to learn from this experience, which I'm going to go help your people with in just a second. But we talk about deaths, and yet when we look at the actual data, they say age is a problem. Well, age is not the problem. The problem is how we took care of ourselves. These are often, as a matter of fact, according to some people, the vast majority of the deaths. There are a little over 100 deaths in the United States from this virus. We have no idea how many people actually have been infected for a lot of reasons, which I can go through later on. But the deaths are all, you'll notice out of the first 26, 19 of them occurred in one nursing home of people who were very, very debilitated. And my point is that it is the comorbid condition that the patient has, or if you will, the pre-existing, the diabetic, the chronic smoker who has lung disease, the person with cancer, and that's not his fault, but we could talk about type 2 diabetes in a minute. Bottom line is, it's the debilitated that are at risk of death, not the general population.
We've essentially created a perfect vector for a virus, for a viral outbreak, and in fact, it's part of nature to do that. When living things are together and they're sick and they're toxic, won't nature come in and kind of do its business?
Well, there's no question of that, and one of the first things that I think we need to recognize is where this actually came from, not where, as in this business with the media now banging on the president because he's calling it a Chinese virus, and they're saying, well, that's racist. I mean, baloney, that's where the virus came from. Are they going to say that it's racist when you call the West Nile virus came from, Egypt or the Middle East, MERS,
Middle
a virus
Eastern,
that killed, well, I have it here, something like 37% of people who contracted the MERS virus died from it. And yet for this COVID-19 virus that we are now in the midst of, my best guess is that for the healthy population, you're going to talk about a fraction of 1%. probably something on the order of 0.0001% healthy people, but you are going to be talking about seriously ill people, and that, of course, tends to be old people like myself. I'm pleased to say, as a 76-year-old, I don't have any serious medical conditions, and I don't think I'm at any great risk. But the 50-year-old who has diabetes and chronic lung disease and kidney failure and is on a whole bunch of drugs, that's the person who's at risk. I think we need to talk, if I may, Ben, about what we should learn from the current experience. And the number one thing I think we need to learn is the following. We need contingency plans for these various outbreaks. I mean, if you look at it, we got 2004 SARS, 2009 swine flu, 2012 MERS, 2016 the avian flu, which, by the way, was the fifth episode of the avian flu in the 7 years prior to that. Now we got 2020 COVID-19. Would you be surprised if we get another outbreak of some virus in 2022 or 2023? The answer is, of course, we're going to have another one. Why do we take these as a big surprise? Why don't we have our people playing, if you will, war games, just the way the military people prepare in advance for various contingencies and scenarios? We ought to have our people sitting down and saying, okay, what if the next virus hits pregnant women? What are we going to do? Or what if the next virus has a similar economic impact because of social distancing, which, by the way, is maybe a wise choice on our part and on the world's part. But
hey, Doc, we got to take a break. So hang on to that thought. I want you to continue and come back. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We're talking to Dr. Dean Waldman, and we're getting his take on the coronavirus. We'll be back on The Bright Side right after this. On The Bright Side, we are talking to Dr. Dean Waldman about the coronavirus. I'm on Johns Hopkins Coronavirus Resource Center, which is where I get a lot of information from for anybody who wants to check it out. That's Johns Hopkins Coronavirus Resource Center. It's total confirmed 227,743. Total deaths 9,318. Hey, Dr. Waldman.
Sir.
Hey, so tell me about these statistics, okay? Because you know the three kinds of lies, right? There's lies,
and statistics. Yes.
Correct. Okay.
I'm not sure whether it was Winston Churchill who said that, but God knows that was Mark. It keeps being proven true.
Yes.
We have to, if you want to talk statistics for a second, and I do want to get some of these other lessons in here, but if you want to talk statistics for a second, you talk mortality, and the problem with that is we know the number of deaths. So if you're saying the mortality rate is 4% or 2% or 9% or Ebola 90%.
Well, hang on, Doc. This is the problem with knowing the deaths. We don't know if they literally died from the coronavirus because they're in the hospital and they're sick, and it could have been anything from the drugs that they're giving them to a comorbid condition, like you say, to the food they're eating. There's all kinds of reasons. We don't know definitively, do we, that when somebody dies that it was the coronavirus?
No, we don't know that, but I have to argue that it's worse than what you're saying because we keep talking percentage rates. Well, the trouble is we do know that the person died. We may not know precisely that it was that the Ebola or the COVID was the cause. I mean, he also had lung disease and cancer or whatever. Yes, but here's the problem. We don't know. We know the numerator, but we don't know the denominator of that
That's a problem too.
In other words,
that's a problem too. The more infections you have, the death rate drops. Right now, it's artificially high.
The more confirmed infection
Confirmed.
you have, that's right, the death rate drops. But the trouble is, we have no idea how many people actually are asymptomatic.
Yes, correct.
There are probably hundreds of thousands of
Correct.
people who have this virus and have nothing wrong, and they're not sick. They don't have a fever. They don't need hospitalization. We don't know that number, and so therefore, all these statements about it's a 4% mortality, but in the older people it's a 15% mortality.
Right.
I go, baloney. We don't know the denominator of this fraction, so how the hell can you say anything?
Doc, listen to me. On so many levels, this stinks. On so many levels, this does not pass the sniff test. On so many levels.
I can't disagree.
Okay,
but
it doesn't.
I really want to say something important here about the history and something that we need to learn from the history. Ben, I'm a lot older than you, and I can easily remember, say, medical school or when I was in training, all of the things that we did in the last 4 months were not even science fiction. They were inconceivable. We went from the first case identification on November 17th, 2019, to vaccine testing, which is what they're doing right now, starting, I think, March 16th, maybe 17th, but in the last couple of days. We went from identification to understanding the genome, to spreading the genome itself, the knowledge of the genome, to the beginning of creating testing kits, to now a vaccination program in 4 months.
Isn't it a genetic...
That is a tribute to entrepreneurship, medical technology, innovation, all the things that capitalism, forgive me for using that dirty word, but I don't think it's a dirty word, rewards, and I want us to learn that we need to encourage that behavior, not suppress it with government controls and price controls and socialist, communist thinking. I really think we need to say thank you to the markets that created all this medical technology that is helping us understand and save lives.
Now, the vaccine, there's something unusual about this vaccine, at least when I read about it. It's DNA vaccination.
That is correct. It is not live anything.
Yeah, so they actually put DNA in your body. Like the DNA is from the antigen, or it produces an antigen.
Yeah, and the whole point is to say, okay, we want the body to recognize this as a foreign invader, but we're not giving a live virus. We're only giving a particle that identifies. It's like giving the virus's address.
Got it. Does it enter into your genome? Does it enter into
the police being the immune system in your body, which is why people who are debilitated are more likely to get sick and possibly die from this because they are debilitated. So what we're doing is saying, okay, let's ramp up your immune system so that you kill the virus rather than some medication kills the virus.
What are the risks of autoimmunity with a DNA vaccine?
Answer with this one, I don't know. My best guess is there isn't any, but I don't know that yet.
It seems logical.
The fact is, it's all well and good for you or me or somebody else who's in the healthcare system to make predictions. But the only thing that matters to the public is the evidence of effect. And so I need, before I say answer your question, show me the data, show me the evidence that this does or does not provoke an immune response that is dangerous as opposed to an immune response that is helpful. I don't know, and we have to see what the data shows.
Are there other DNA vaccines out there? I know they were thinking about, I read one about HIV a long time ago, or a couple years ago.
They're actually, one of the things they've been trying to work on is a DNA vaccine for Ebola.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
So is this a new era in vaccination, DNA vaccines?
Yes.
I just heard about them. Yeah?
Yes. And the answer is it is potentially, I hate to use this word, but it is potentially the cure.
Okay, for viruses. Now, last thing here, Doc. What do you just speculate? Okay, if we think that the statistics are, they don't stand up to scrutiny. Number one, the fact that the virus is really weak. Number two, and the death rates are very low. Even if you don't even factor in the idea of the numerator denominator, what's behind all this stuff?
It's not right for a supposed expert to say I don't know, but the answer is I don't know.
Okay. All right. Though I have a hunch. I have a couple hunches. It seems like follow the money. You've heard that before. So
if you like conspiracy theories,
this is juicy.
I certainly like thinking about them. I'm not sure I like saying them out loud, but you could make a case that this is a form of economic warfare.
Absolutely. That's the real ramifications. To me, that's real. I have my doubts. I don't think this doesn't stand up to biochemical, metabolic, or any kind of scrutiny. Just the understanding of numbers belies all the potentially fraudulent nature of this whole thing. But nonetheless, Doc, I really appreciate your point of view. Thank you so much. I hope we can have you on regularly as this crisis progresses, and I'd love to hear what you have to say. And any last words you want people to know?
No, I'd like people to realize that if it's true, if this is all true, the people who have taken care of their bodies, who have taken personal responsibility for themselves, who don't smoke, who don't eat themselves into diabetes, who maintain an active lifestyle so they don't get arthritis and autoimmune disease and so forth, those people are safer and less likely to get sick and certainly less likely to die.
All right, Doc. Thank you so much for your take. Appreciate it. I'll be in touch with you, and hope we have you on regularly as we keep going with this coronavirus stuff. Thank you, Doc.
Have a great day.
Have a great day yourself. All right, that was Dr. Dean Waldman giving us his take. I'm not sure I agreed 100% with his stuff he said, but he still had some interesting things to say about the virus thing, about the coronavirus. And in my humble opinion, this is not anywhere near as important physiologically as it is mentally. And that is good news, because that's where we have locus of control, and that's always what it's all going to be about, locus of control. Number one, control your physiology, control your immune system, lose weight, exercise, and don't forget to focus on the psychology. We'll be talking about that on the coming Bright Side episodes. Thanks for listening. I'm Pharmacist Ben. Have a wonderful, beautiful, awesome, spectacular day. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye for now.